Hey everybody, welcome back to Chris and Harry Unplugged. I'm Harry, that's Chris. Episode 6, my man. Wow.
It's flying.
It's flying by. We're having a good time, you know. Thank you guys so much for being back with us today. We have a really jam-packed episode. We're going to talk about a crucial vote coming up in Ohio. Chris has a story from Atlanta, our credit rating, and of course, the new Trump indictment, ladies and gentlemen.
Indictment. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and address the elephant in the room if you're watching on YouTube. Guys, it's podcast Rain or Shine. So I'm actually in the great state of Ohio right now. If for people who don't know, both both sides of my family are from Ohio. My parents met in like the 5th grade. Isn't that like a little
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, a little sweetheart story. And I have not seen my grandparents in a long time, and they're getting significantly older, I will say. So I really needed to make this trip. But it's podcast Rain or Shine. So as you can see if you're watching on YouTube, like this is not ideal. But I'm here. I'm trying my best.
But he's doing it.
I'm doing it.
Yeah, he's doing it. That is what we call commitment, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm really trying. I really am. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Now, before we jump into the stories today, I have just 2 things I want to say to the viewers, as I did last week. First and foremost, last week, Chris and I talked about how the podcast has now been listened to in 49 out of 50 states, not including D.C., of course. D.C. as well. It's been listened to in Puerto Rico and all these cool places. But now I can officially confirm we have a listener in Alaska making it all 50 states.
Yo, shout out to the person in Alaska. Dude, that's so like crazy to think about. It's literally insane.
And I was checking, and we're in every continent except Antarctica.
Wow.
Every continent. Isn't that's cool?
Yeah, dude. Thank you guys so much. Seriously, that's wild. We're going to continue to try to get better and try to improve. I've been talking to Harry a lot behind the scenes about new ideas, and hopefully we'll be able to, moving forward, include some like smaller stories that aren't on the news, do some different mixes of some fun things, and we're really trying to get better. And next week, guaranteed, I'll put everything on it. We'll have webcams next week. We will
God
have
damn.
very nice webcams next week, so this whole experience will be significantly better for you guys to watch on YouTube.
God damn. Well, listen, you heard it here first, folks. And wow, the last thing I want to say is, you know what? I was looking at all this political news and the Trump indictment and everything, and man, you know what? I just want to say thank you to the viewers and the people, because man, it's so draining, it's so tiring, it's so depressing. And I gotta say, whether you're Gen Z, whether you're older than us, I appreciate you guys staying in the game with us and fighting every day. And no matter how bad the news is, you get up. You keep yourself informed and you do your part, which I really appreciate.
Right.
I just want to say that,
Yeah, dude, very powerful. I agree 100%. Everyone's voice matters, and a lot of people don't even pay attention because it's so draining, and I completely understand. But to those of you who are listening to this right now, maybe in the car trying to stay informed, like, props to you.
Yeah, seriously, shout out to you guys. So anyway, aside from that, we're going to jump into today's topics. We have 2 little quick topics that we've each individually brought, and then we have a bigger topic with the credit rating, and then of course we are going to dive into the Trump indictment deeply, not surface level stuff, deeply. So first and foremost, my thing is super quick, and I just wanted to talk about this quick election that's happening in Ohio on Tuesday, the state that you are in.
Well, that's
Chris.
actually crazy. I'll be here. I'll be leaving on Tuesday, but
yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
I gotta
state you're in.
I gotta tell the folks to vote. Except my folks here are pretty MAGA.
Yeah.
Although they're very proud of me and they support what I do, sort of. Yeah,
that's family, man.
But anyway, continue, sir.
Anyway, so there's a new issue coming up in Ohio, a new vote on Tuesday, which is on issue 1. So originally Ohio has this law, as 17 other states do, where you can propose a constitutional amendment and have the people vote on it. And all you need to do is get signatures from 44 out of the 88 districts in Ohio, plus it has to pass with a simple majority. So over 50%, right? Makes sense. Sounds democratic. And so voters were planning on using this ability to alter the state constitution to vote on their abortion rights this fall. The people in Ohio want to vote on their reproductive freedom. Sounds good, right? So what do Republicans do? They know that Americans are pro-choice, so what do? They're trying to change the rules. They're trying to make it harder for this vote to even happen in the first place. So this Tuesday, people in Ohio will be voting on an amendment or a proposal from the Republicans to make it so that you actually need 60% of the vote to pass. and you need signatures in at least 5% of voters in the 88 out of 88 counties in Ohio. So pretty shitty stuff is going on.
Right, exactly. And I've seen some of the ads circulating from Republicans about this issue. So, yeah, if you're in the great state of Ohio, I'm in Cincinnati right now myself, go vote. Go vote. Do your part. Yeah, this is
go vote. Yeah,
stuff.
Go vote no on issue 1. That's what it is. It's issue 1.
Issue 1. Yeah, we do.
No on issue 1.
We need to do some social media work around that.
I posted about it today.
Really?
Yeah, on TikTok.
I need to post about it. I feel like not enough people are talking about that.
Yeah, it's a really big story. It's like, and it really is anti-democratic. I mean, they know they're going to lose in a simple majority election on reproductive rights, so they changed the rules. I mean, come on.
I mean, that's what Republicans do. They're just going to change. Trump's whole plan in 2024, if he gets back in, is to expand the executive branch and expand presidential power. We're just going to this isn't really working for us. So we're just going to kind of, we want limited government, but we're going to expand it. We're going to change all the rules. Just shh.
Just be quiet. Just keep it on the low.
Just be quiet.
So that's it.
It's the deep state.
It's a deep state. That's it. I just want to make a quick PSA to everybody. If you have friends, family, loved ones, or you yourself live in the great state of Ohio, go do your part. And I thank you for getting involved. All right. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
nice.
all on that.
I like that. We got to do a better push. Hopefully, we'll see what happens Tuesday. We can talk about it next week.
Absolutely.
So yeah, the small thing I want to talk about, because I think some of these episodes, right now, guys, it's so Trump indictment heavy. I mean, everybody's talking about the Trump indictment, right? This is groundbreaking stuff. It's kind of hard for us to just act like it's not happening. But moving forward, I think there's some discussion about trying to add, because everyone's talking about the Trump indictment. We got to add, our own banter to it, and also our own smaller stories that maybe aren't talked about enough. This is my first attempt at this because no one's talking about this. The Atlanta mayor, so I'm from Atlanta, I live in Atlanta. The Atlanta mayor signed an executive order to allocate $4 million of city funds for a quote rapid homelessness initiative, like a rapid housing initiative. And basically from the state, they're buying, and some are being donated, but they're buying shipping containers and they're stacking them on top of each other. And it's rapid, so it's supposed to be very fast. They're going to make it all affordable housing, and they already have the spaces in the city where it's going. It's already set. And with some of that money, they're taking some of there's spaces downtown that are buildings that are run down or abandoned, and several of those are old hospitals. They're going to renovate the hospital's floors, gut it completely and renovate it as fast as they can, all affordable housing. Their goal, as fast as they can, is to create 20,000 units.
Holy shit.
Of affordable housing. And if you get into one of these affordable housing units, it's part of a program. So included in that, you also get free help with either mental health or substance abuse, or both. And you also get, through the city, employment opportunities. And they will help you get required documentation, because a lot of people don't have IDs or the necessary things to find permanent housing. So they'll help you get your IDs through or your documents through the city, and then they'll help you find permanent housing. And a lot of people, if you're in the kind of Fox News, this story hasn't been talked about at all except locally. That's why I picked it up. But if you listen to Fox News, you think that. Sorry, I'm too close to the mic, guys. If you're on audio right now, I don't have a place to set up the mic, so I actually have to hold it. So I'm trying my best. But if you're on Fox News, a lot of these, you think that the blue cities are just mayhem and homelessness is rampant and no one's doing anything. But Andre Dickens is our mayor, and he's fantastic. And I think this is a really big deal that people aren't talking about. I mean, a lot of these blue cities put in a lot of this work, and obviously homelessness and crime are worse in bigger cities, but we all know that's because Atlanta alone, in that inside the perimeter, which is, I bet inside the perimeter from length to length is 15 or 20 miles maybe.
Wow.
There's 600, 500, 700,000 something in there, people living in that 15 mile radius. I mean, it's dense as shit. So obviously there's going to be more homelessness, more crime. It's just more people. But these blue cities actually do care about people. Andre Dickens cares. And it's not just rampant hell where everyone gets to do what they want. I mean, Atlanta is such a fantastic city. I'd say the same for San Francisco. And yeah, I just want to shout that out because I thought it was really cool and no one was really talking about it. It was an impressive initiative.
Yeah, dude, that is actually awesome. I mean, that is such a great idea.
No, it's great. Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, what a terrific way to use I've seen a lot of like, I think this is kind of more of a modern thing, but these shipping containers being turned into like really nice living places. Like it's not, people think shipping container, they think, oh, it's going to be gross, but no, there's actually ways to make them really nice. And people who may not have a house right now, it's actually great to put them in there and actually give them a place to live. I think that's a really great idea. And the hospitals thing as well, and the treatment. I mean, that's what so many homeless people in America struggle with. People think that, oh, they're just, Republicans, a lot of the Republicans think, oh, they're just not pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, and they're lazy and they're this, and it's like, no, a lot of them actually struggle with issues that they just can't get help with.
Right. And even regardless of, the fact that I think Biden has done incredible work economically, there's still a lot of key things happening where, that cost of living is very high. Some things that may be outside of his control are still happening that need to be worked on, especially going back to the COVID pandemic. People are struggling. Rent is high, especially in these big cities. And, the car market, it's still very hard to, I think we found out this weekend that it is the most unaffordable time ever to buy a new car. The average price of a new car, $46,000 right now, which is insane. Right now, obviously, the Republicans will look at some of those stats and say Bidenomics, but what the hell is Biden going to do about the, you know what I mean? So Biden has done fantastic work on the economy, but there's still things outside of his control that people are struggling with. And I think, some of these local governments can take over and help that. One of his exact quotes about this 3 days ago was, any one of us are just one bad day away from finding ourselves needing a hand up to get back on our feet. Working with our partners in city council and using a little innovation, we will swiftly deploy these resources to give folks the support they need and deserve. So shout out Andre Dickens, Atlanta.
That's awesome. Shout out Atlanta. Shout out the mayor of Atlanta, Andre Dickens.
The Peach State. Yeah, we're going blue in 2024, buddy. I hope you know.
I hope, bro. I hope. I know you're going to put in the work to make it happen.
It's not I hope. It's I know.
He knows. Listen. You heard it here first, folks. He said it on record.
I said it on record. Atlanta.
Beautiful.
Georgia will go blue in 2024.
I love it, man. I love it. Great, good shit.
All right. So, should we get to the? Oh wait, we're going to talk about the credit rating.
We can do the credit rating if you like.
Or do you want to do the?
No, I mean we can. I mean the indictment's gonna be long. Well, let's go credit rating and then we'll go.
Well, I think this one's also kind of quick if you haven't heard. So this one I'm actually less knowledgeable about. So I guess the U.S. but who they lose it from? Was it Fitch? Finch?
Yes.
But that's the problem. Is maybe I'm just not educated enough to talk about this issue.
No, I mean it's like it's Fitch Ratings. They downloaded
it's ratings. They say what type of ratings? I say so many ratings.
So many ratings.
Yeah, so many ratings. So many ratings.
No, it's the S&P. I think that's the rating. It's the S&P, and we were downgraded from AAA to A plus.
AA plus.
Sorry, what did I say? Sorry, AA plus.
It was AAA to AA plus. But regardless, this is just all you need to know is this is essentially the U.S.'s creditworthiness, because obviously everyone relies on the U.S. dollar, and everybody sees the U.S. dollar as the most secure currency because the U.S. government is known for paying back its dues. And so we were downgraded for the first time in however many decades because there's some rumblings that the U.S. government may not be a secure place to borrow from, which would be a big deal. But the reasons they cite in this reasoning, which Janet Yellen disagreed with, was, one of their main reasons was the holdup on the debt ceiling negotiation, which we've talked about and can probably agree that Republicans held it hostage to held an issue hostage that they shouldn't have held hostage. But the main issue, or not the main issue, the other issue that I thought was more important than that was they cited government instability and, changes in our government that appear unstable from the outside, specifically citing January 6th. So I sent out a tweet that got some people upset, but it's just the truth. People are saying, oh, look at Biden's America. We're no longer creditworthy. I said, no. When you raid the Capitol because you think the election was stolen and the guy that you want to be president is about to go to federal prison, that does not instill confidence in the global system, from the people outside who are like, I wonder if I should borrow against the US dollar. They're like, their buddy is like, well, hey man, I saw on the news, they're literally beating police officers to death to get into the Capitol to stop the certification of an election. Like, I don't care if you like Trump, think about that for a second. From the outside looking in, they're like, holy shit, it's falling apart. And again, you have no evidence that the election was stolen. So I'm going, credit rating was downgraded because of the Maga movement. I mean, that's creating a significant instability, and I understand. So that's kind of
I mean, let's be clear here. I mean, like on the credit rating, they listed, that the debt ceiling negotiations were, as you said, the key thing. They also listed things like January 6th, and the fact of the matter is, I don't think it's wrong to say that it is the fault of the MAGA movement that we're here, because it was the MAGA Republicans in Congress who held up the debt ceiling negotiation in the first place. This doesn't happen, right? Like, it's not normal for you to, debt ceiling negotiations take place when we need to raise it, but it's not normal for it to go down to the wire to the point it did over the things it did. I mean, remember, Republicans were seeking to cut veterans benefits and teachers' pay and things like that. It's ridiculous. And the Democrats were like, we're not doing that. We're not destroying people's lives. So yeah, I mean, anyway, point is, the credit rating thing is right. Not the fault of, I've seen people say it's Biden. It has nothing to do with Biden's economic policies.
Yes, and to your first point, yeah. So this was downgraded by Fitch, and Fitch is they just quote their exact description here is to describe each nation's ability to meet its debt obligations. But they are not the only ones. There's actually three more, and this goes into my two more. I think this goes into my whole thing about not being educated enough on this issue. So I wanted to tap on it. Just tap on it. This is Unplugged. Harry and I are 20, 21 years old. We don't have to be educated on every issue. It's okay to look at someone and say, I don't know the answer to that. But I just wanted to tap on it just in case you had seen that. Maybe you'd seen a story about this. Maybe it confused you. And so, yeah, just you can look it up, do your research. But I think it's pretty clear here that the outside world is seeing some instability inside. So, which we're about to talk about with the Trump indictment.
Which we're about to talk about. What a nice segue, my man. I got to shout you out for that. That was slick.
Yeah. Give me a shot. They say, someone asked me in a room the other day, they said, Chris, how are you so good at transitions? I've never seen a transition like that. I say, folks, I looked at him. I said, I know. I have the best transition. Everyone knows
okay.
the fake news media. I have so many transitions, the best transitions. It's the wettest hurricane you've ever seen. So wet, incredibly wet.
What is this guy, Trump or something? Is this guy Trump?
Yeah, that's
anyway,
Trump.
Listen.
That's Trump.
Let's listen, folks. All right, guys. Let's talk here about this. This indictment. This indictment's bad. It's really bad. It's really bad for Trump. So if you don't know, of course you know, but Trump was indicted this week on I guess it's Monday you're listening to this, so last week technically, but he was indicted on 4 charges in relation to his attempts to overturn the 2020 election. Those 4 charges are as follows. Count 1, conspiracy to defraud the United States. Count 2, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. Count 3, obstruction of and attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights. Now the last charge is a civil rights era crime that was mainly used to stop the KKK from preventing black people from voting, but it also can be applied today because you can't enter into a conspiracy to deprive anybody of their right to vote, and that's what Donald Trump's being accused of here. Serious shit. All these charges alone carry a maximum sentence of 55 years in prison, and that's on top of the already 600 plus years in prison this guy's facing right now. It's insane.
Holy shit! Wait, so it's how many?
Yeah, he's facing over 600 years.
What?
On all charges.
Why did I actually not add that up correctly? I've been walking around thinking we're at 300 plus. 600 plus? Well, I guess it doesn't make a difference. 300, 600, a million. This fucking guy.
Yeah, he's facing I mean, that is just... the crazy thing. I mean, oh my God.
And I'll say that. So how long is this indictment? 49, 45?
45 pages.
So 45 pages. So listen, if you're listening at home, this is, Harry goes to actually, I won't say what university you go to. Harry goes to a very good university. He's very smart. He might go into some form of law.
Thank you.
And so he loves this type of stuff. Me, however, I go to Kennesaw State University, which is a great university. Maybe not considered prestigious. No offense to people. Kennesaw already doesn't like me.
Damn!
Yeah. And I'm not the best student, although I'm working on that. So for me, this is not like, don't be intimidated. If you are interested in this, go. You can easily find the indictment, read it. It's a lot of these indictments, especially some of the last ones he's been indicted on, are not very long. They're very precise. They're a little difficult to follow along with, but they'll really help you grasp how intense this is. So I'd suggest you take a read.
Absolutely. And look, that's what we're here for. We're going to try and break this down in, succinct way and talk about the major moments. We're not going to read every single word to you, but we're going to talk about some, excuse me, I just keep hiccuping, pretty significant moments in this indictment. So I'd like to start on page 2. We're starting right at the get-go. So those are Trump's charges.
Let's do it.
So something that's really important for everybody to keep in mind is that a lot of Republicans are saying that the DOJ are criminalizing Donald Trump's First Amendment rights and that all he was doing was challenging the election. Can he not do that anymore? So the DOJ, they're playing 4D chess right now, buddy. They're playing.
You're buddy. The DOJ has you cooked, buddy. You have
they have you cooked.
No shot, buddy. If you play Fortnite, dude, you're getting straight 90 right now. They're cranking 90s, dude. Like it's not even a competition.
It's not even a competition because the DOJ on page 2 wrote that the defendant has a right, like every American, to speak publicly about the election and even to claim falsely that there had been outcome determinative fraud during the election that he had won, and that he had won. So they're acknowledging from the get-go that Donald Trump can say whatever he wants about the election. He can claim it was fraudulent even if he knows it's not. That's First Amendment speech. However, in the next paragraph, they write, shortly after Election Day, the defendant also pursued unlawful means of discounting legitimate votes and subverting the election results. So basically, you can claim that the election was false all you want, but you can't enter a criminal conspiracy to alter the results.
Right, exactly. And like this is, you can tell in the Trump world, whether it's part of engaging the base or his actual legal defense, you can tell he pokes at it to see what'll stick. And this is one of the things that people have at least tried, and I can already see it's dying down because it's just so unreasonable. Like we've heard from multiple conservative creators on our end who say, well, if he goes to court and he can prove that he found one fraudulent ballot, which we're not relitigating the election here. Like this case has nothing to do with relitigating the 2020 election. But it's like if he really believed it, then why are we silencing? He said last night in a speech, why are we silencing free speech on if the election was stolen? That's not the point. And I love your quote about the bank. It's if you go to the bank and you're like, hey, I want to withdraw $5,000. Well, this isn't your quote. This is a famous quote. But if I want to withdraw $5,000 from the bank and I walk in, I say, I want $5,000. They say, sir, your account has $0 in it. I'm sorry. And you look at your phone app and there's $5,000. You say, no, there's $5,000. And you guys disagree. You can really believe that you have $5,000. That does not then give you the right to rob the bank. Right, exactly. So there is legal means to pursue that the election was stolen, which Donald Trump did. That's why he lost over and over and over and over and over again in court. He pursued those legal routes, which he's absolutely allowed to do, but he's not allowed to enter in a criminal conspiracy.
Exactly. And that's even the DOJ talked about like the legal routes he took, that, he challenged in court. He paid for recounts and things like that. And that, you can do that. That's fine. No problem. Is it shitty when you know you're lost and there's no evidence? Yes, it's shitty.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's not illegal though. And
exactly.
And the DOJ says that. So, already the DOJ is like knocking off, 95% of the Trump team's arguments and Trump world's arguments. But the three main criminal conspiracies they're looking at in connection to this case is one, a conspiracy to defraud the United States by using dishonesty, fraud, and deceit to impair, obstruct, and defeat the lawful federal government function by which the results of the presidential election are collected, counted, and certified by the federal government. So that's not just counting for January 6th. That's counting for, the electors voting in the first place and all that kind of stuff. The second is a conspiracy to corruptly obstruct and impede the January 6th congressional proceeding, at which the collected results of the presidential election are counted and certified. Now, I want to remind everybody, this is, for the listeners, this is coming directly from the indictment. I'm reading this directly. And then finally, the third thing is a conspiracy against the right to vote and to have one's vote counted in violation of 18 U.S.C. Section 241. So they're building like this broad conspiracy case against Donald Trump, and they lay that out specifically in the indictment. But yeah, I mean, like, as you can see, like in what I just read, none of it is a speech. None of it's speech related. None of it's like, oh, Donald Trump just said the election was fraudulent. He's like, no, he used knowingly false speech to try to convince people to overturn an election that was fair, and he knew it was. Anyway, it's a whole thing.
Right.
Bad for Trump. That's what it is.
I mean, yeah, this guy. What is the DOJ's conviction rate?
Oh, I think they have like a 99% plus conviction rate in federal court.
Just thought I'd throw that out there. just thought I'd let the viewers know. Buddy, the DOJ, it's a 1v1. The DOJ has the DOJ has high ground. They have a gold scar. You have no med. You have like 30 health, no build. Donald Trump has no build, no med kit. They have a gold scar. They have like 3 chug jugs. I mean, buddy, you just quit the game like you're cooked, buddy.
I know.
I'm so sorry.
Dude, that was really funny. I gotta compose myself now. And the fact of the matter is the DOJ has like a lot of evidence. This is not just like, oh, a 2-page indictment. Oh, we think he did. No, bro, no.
Oh,
now,
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's bad. It's really
bad. Now, the next big thing in this indictment are co-conspirators. Oh man, who helped Trump in all of his crap? We have co-conspirator 1, co-conspirator 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I won't read you their descriptions of them because we kind of know who they are by now. And I'm going to read you the suspected ones. Co-conspirator, I won't read you in them order, but we have Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Jeffrey Clark, and Kenneth Chesebro, who are all attorneys. So a sad day for the law.
Yeah, I was about to say, bad look for the field that you're going into. Not great.
Not great, that's really unfortunate. And the last person's unidentified, and we don't really know who it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Why do you have a suspicion?
This is going to be another issue I'm not educated on, but I'm not educated enough to comment on who the other co-conspirator could be. So
I don't know either. Yeah. I have no idea either.
I think we've kind of figured it out. I think. I don't know. Continue. I'll
well, it says co-conspirator 6 is a political consultant who helped implement a plan.
I was about to say consultant.
Yeah, it's something like that. So that's why it's kind of vague. It's like nobody really knows.
Oh, so it doesn't even give.
No, it doesn't. So so far, the co-conspirators who have been found out by people like putting pieces together. It's not the DOJ. Right. So that's why everybody's kind of like, I don't really know who co-conspirator 6 is.
A political consultant who helped implement a plan to submit fraudulent slates of presidential electors.
Yeah, so we don't like. I mean, I think a political consultant in Trump world could be anybody. I mean, right?
Yeah, no, it's not very.
It's not very specific. I don't know.
Oh, there's a strong clue. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
Well, if you find a strong clue, just interrupt me and we'll that's useful. So anyway. The next big thing, and we don't have that many of these, like probably like 11 to 12 of these big points. Page 5 and 6 talks about the means at achieving this conspiracy. How did Donald Trump go about trying to overturn the election? Well, the DOJ knows. Section A says the defendant and co-conspirators used knowingly false claims of election fraud to get state legislators and election officials to subvert the legitimate election results and change electoral votes. So he went directly to the state legislators. That's one way that Donald Trump tried to achieve this. The second is the defendant and co-conspirators organized fraudulent slates of electors in 7 targeted states, those being Arizona.
I'm so sorry. Actually,
go.
So
I'll say the states. I'll say the states, and then you jump in.
Okay, go.
Those 7 states are Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, New Mexico, which he lost by 10 points, by the way, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Now,
and actually, there's someone who witnessed there's a witness called Fannie Willis, or I guess There's a was that the dude? There's just so many. Like there's so
many cases, dude.
I can't keep up. There's someone who witnessed, like a local reporter who witnessed the fake electors.
Yes.
In Georgia, and he's been called to he's been subpoenaed to testify in the grand jury in Fulton County. In fact, this week I believe they put up more barricades in Fulton County, which you can check out my TikTok. I'm totally not plugging myself here, but I was at the Fulton County courthouse because I live in the Atlanta area. And yeah, the barricades are up, but I guess there's more. They've closed off roads, so I mean, it's getting ready. By the way, I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
The sixth co-conspirator would be a Boris
Effenstein, something like that. Some weird shit like that.
Born in Moscow, Russia, investment banker. Yeah, look at your face. So the New York Times wrote something about this. Again, I've done no research on co-conspirator 6, so I'm just finding this out now. He was born in Moscow, Russia. He's a investment banker, and he was a strategic advisor on the 2020 presidential campaign. He remained a close advisor to Trump in his post-presidency. He was chief political commentator at Sinclair Broadcast Group until December 2019. He was a senior advisor to Trump's 2016 campaign and previously worked for John McCain in 2008. He was then assistant communications director. What year was that? Oh, that was following Trump's election. He was in some position at the White House at some point, resigned in 2017. He was a member of a team of Trump lawyers who sought to prevent the certification of Joe Biden's victory. So it looks like the New York Times put together a piece because there's an example somewhere in there about an email that was sent to Giuliani, and they matched that email to this guy. I just thought it was hilarious that I looked to the right and it said he's 40 years old, born in Moscow, Russia.
Born in Moscow, Russia. I mean, not surprised.
Right.
Yeah, not surprised.
Right. Okay, buddy.
Okay, buddy. Wow, that's actually great investigative journalism by the New York Times. That's awesome. That's really dope.
So anyway, I'm so sorry for.
No, you're good. That was a good addition. I appreciate that because now that's I just learned something.
Right.
So anyway, so the fraudulent electors. That's the second means. Third means is the defendant and co-conspirators attempted to use the power and authority of the Department of Justice to conduct sham election crime investigations and to send a letter to the targeted states that falsely claimed that the DOJ had identified significant concerns that may have impacted the election outcome. So they tried to use the power of the DOJ. There were some meetings that took place with DOJ officials, and that's all in the indictment where, for example, Jeffrey Clark met with Donald Trump out of the ranks of the DOJ. You're meant to inform them if you're meeting with the president. He did so without informing them multiple times. And then when Donald Trump threatened to make Jeffrey Clark the attorney general, the acting attorney general, to implement his plan, the senior officials at the DOJ threatened to resign and Trump backed off. So attempting to use, that's just fucking insane, man. And then the fourth thing, the defendant and co-conspirators attempted to enlist the vice president to use a ceremonial role at the January 6th certification proceeding to fraudulently alter the election results. It kind of goes in part to conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, trying to get the vice president to obstruct an official proceeding, right? And then finally, after it became public on the afternoon of January 6th that the vice president would not fraudulently alter the election results, a large and angry crowd, January 6th, including many individuals whom the defendant had deceived into believing the VP could and might change the election results, violently attacked the Capitol and halted the proceeding. As violence ensued, the defendant and co-conspirators exploited this disruption by redoubling efforts to levy false claims of election fraud and convince members of Congress to further delay their certification based on those claims. So after January 6th and during it, Trump, Giuliani, and others were calling members of Congress and senators to try to get them to delay further even after they just saw the Capitol attacked.
Right, because they're anti-American and probably the biggest traitors in American history since the Civil War.
Boom. Seriously.
Boom.
God.
It's crazy.
The amount of...
I think
it's so slimy.
It's like more you learn. You can't think that these people get more treasonous, but they just do.
It's so... the things we learn from this... how are you watching these senators, representatives running for their lives... And you're calling them Giuliani's like, hey, buddy, I'm going to need you to do it again. I'm going to need you to help me out. What?
Right, yep.
Come on, man.
Nice.
Anyway.
Little Joe Biden.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. It's a bunch of malarkey.
Don't give me that malarkey, bro. Anyway, and then finally, or not finally, what am I talking about? Finally,
on pages 7 and 8, they, as Chris mentioned earlier, a lot of Republicans are saying, well, hey, even if Donald Trump truly believed that the election wasn't stolen, he's fine. Like if he truly believed that he was fair to do that, of course that's not true. But of course the DOJ, always likes to prove motive, even if it's not needed. In this case, it's not, and with all these charges. But for example, one of the ways they're trying to prove that Donald Trump did know that the election was fair was talking about all the people and listing all the people who told him that it wasn't stolen. So they have an extensive list.
Oh yeah, dude, I bet that list is so fat. That's the thing that's like it makes me so mad that that's never talked about in right-wing circles ever. That like over and over and over and over again, he got so much evidence that he was fucking full of shit. And he just
everybody was telling him.
So the real question is that I always ask myself is he such a narcissist that he actually believes it was stolen, or does he not believe it was stolen and just continues to do this because he's trying to play his base? It's very confusing to me.
It's an interesting question. I honestly err on the side of he knew it wasn't stolen, and I'll talk about why.
Okay, go ahead.
But what do you think, though?
I don't know. It's tough. Like every day I witness more and more, and especially, and I don't know if we were planning to go into this, but obviously in the last 72 hours, he's essentially, Jack Smith got a protective order because he's, threatening. He posted on True Social and said, if they come after me, I'll come after them. And then he directly went after Mike Pence. And I don't know where that's going to end up or what the court's going to do. But, there's a quote from when he was in the courtroom when they're like telling him, you do understand. They're triple confirming to him, like, you do understand that, if you intimidate a witness or you do X, Y, and Z, bad things are going to happen. He could, hypothetically, you could be thrown in jail, but he's Trump. So, but regardless, it's just like I see more and more narcissistic personalities from this guy every day. Like, he's such a narcissist that I'm like, fuck, maybe it's like, I don't know. I don't want to be like, I really don't know. What do you think?
It's tough. I mean, I kind of bounce back and forth before the indictment, but now that the indictment's here and there's like specific things in the indictment signaling that he knew, I actually think he did know that the election was not stolen.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably not so narcissistic that he could get overwhelming evidence that the election wasn't stolen and still be like, oh, they're lying to me. Because, he's not that crazy. He's not that crazy, right? So you don't fuck with your head.
It'll mess with your head, bro. You're messing with my head.
Because you always come back to this. You come back to, okay, well, he was the president for 4 years, right? He's not crazy enough to like actually believe it was stolen with all the evidence he had that it wasn't stolen. Like, but then you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say these words: Donald Trump's not that crazy. Do you know how silly you sound if you look at someone and say Donald Trump's not that crazy? Motherfucker is batshit. This guy's the biggest narcissist I've ever seen. That's why it fucks with my head. But regardless, it doesn't matter what he believed. It doesn't matter.
Well, that too. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And they don't have to prove that. But anyway, the DOJ. And I'll talk about two reasons as to why I think Trump does think that it wasn't stolen, or it didn't believe his own crap. But the people that told Trump the election wasn't stolen, as listed in the indictment, was Vice President Pence, senior leader officials at the Department of Justice, the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security's Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, who Donald Trump created, his own agency. Senior White House attorneys, senior staffers on the defendant 2020 re-election campaign, state legislators and officials, many of whom wanted Donald Trump to win and voted for him, and of course, state and federal courts. Now, why? And so those are
so basically everybody.
So basically,
literally everybody told him, yo, yeah.
And we even have, there's testimony from the January 6th committee, which they didn't include in the indictment. I'm sure there's a reason for that, but from like Ivanka and others who were,
and Don Jr. Yeah, they're all like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, they're all like, it's not stolen, you idiot. Anyway, and the final point on whether Trump believed it or not, I'll leave it here. Is on the night of January 3rd, Donald Trump had a meeting with the Joint Chiefs of Staff on a foreign national security issue. And they're talking about this, and then the indictment says, when the chairman and another advisor recommend that the defendant take no action because inauguration day was only 17 days away, and any course of action could trigger something unhelpful, the defendant calmly agreed, stating, "Yeah, you're right. It's too late for us. We're going to give that to the next guy."
Damn. I actually hadn't heard that before.
Isn't that a big? I mean, God,
deal.
bro.
Okay. Yeah, fair. I mean, to everyone, listening, like it's really just like it has no weight at all. It's more of just like a fascinating conversation to me. Like, I'd like this guy to sit in front of a room of psychiatrists and just speak, because I just don't know what's going on in this guy's head. It'll mess with your head. So yeah, you probably believe that. I mean, he just lies all the time, but like, those just extremes where the people, narcissists, they're lying all the time, but they believe their own lies. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just fascinating to me.
This guy is such a piece of shit, dude. God, I mean, everybody around him as well. They're all numbnuts, bro. They're all numbnuts.
Yeah, they're all numbs. They're horrible. They're horrible.
So those are the major points. Now we're going to talk about some significant kind of like eye-popping things, but now those are kind of like the legal issues that Trump is facing, why they, the people that told him, the co-conspirators, all that good stuff. But one of the things I wanted to talk about specifically is the fact that, the fake elector plot. People before the indictment were like, how do you know Donald Trump is connected to the fake elector plot? Well, he was directly involved. He was specifically part of that in his campaign and his co-conspirators, which, by the way, the actions of your co-conspirators and what they say can be used against you in conspiracy. I learned that today. They can be used against you. So what your co-conspirators did as well. But specifically, the way we know Trump was involved, among other things, but I thought this was significant, is that the RNC chairwoman wrote to Trump asking about the fake elector scheme, which she was being asked to help implement. And Donald Trump, according to the indictment, quote, responded approvingly. So Donald Trump was knowledgeable of it, and he was approving it.
Yeah. I mean, the guy knew. I changed my mind. Well, really, it's not a change your mind thing. It's like I really just like think about it all the time, because I'm like, how insane is this guy? But I mean, yeah, he knew. He knows. He knows he lies all the time, which makes him a million times worse.
Yeah, I mean, he's directly involved. I mean, and like none of this is like happening under Donald Trump's nose, right? Like he's directly involved in all of this. And then I have two things. I have finally two things in this indictment, and we can kind of talk about everything after a little bit. But the last thing, it occurs on page 30, and it really is one of the most disgusting things I've heard. So I believe co-conspirator is Jeffrey Clark, the guy who was, going to be acting attorney general. The indictment reads on page 30, the deputy White House counsel reiterated to co-conspirator 4 that there had not been outcome-determinative fraud in the election, and that if the defendant remained in office nonetheless, that there would be, quote, riots in every major city in the United States. Co-conspirator 4 responded by saying, well, that's why there's an Insurrection Act.
Wow.
God, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. That means Jeffrey Clark was saying, hey, let's deploy the military to every... Oh my God, bro. Think about that. What is that, bro? What is that? They want
I mean,
God damn it, dude.
Just, like, we can say this over and over again, but like, and I know someone in our comments was like, I'm getting orange overload, which, listen, I get it, but also A, this is unprecedented, and B, this guy might be the Republican nominee. This is the guy we're going to be making sure doesn't get in the White House. So it's important to talk about these things. But I also have a little bit of orange overload. But I mean, what more to say than like this guy? I mean, this guy. I said it last episode. I'll say it every episode. I'll say it 100,000 times before the 2024 election. This guy and this movement has been one of the worst goddamn things to happen to America in a long, long, long time. And it's just I said it all last episode. It's just so numbing. Like you say something. It's so
dangerous, dude.
You say something like that, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's just so unfortunate that America's not more on the same page, man.
I know. It's really, really like this kind of went over a lot of people's heads. The fact that we had a president and people working with him who wanted to deploy the military into our streets to put down riots and protests because the guy stole the White House. You know what I mean? That Donald Trump would have been illegally in the White House. And oh my God. I mean, look, and again, like I think everybody has a little bit of orange overload. I think everybody is kind of sick about hearing about this, but yeah, it's just so important to keep on this stuff and not forget about the insanity that was the Trump presidency.
Exactly. And that's like I think you run, and again, like this goes to Harry's point about at the beginning, where we appreciate you listening and doing your part, whether you're just listening or whether you're speaking about it or whatever, you're doing your part. But it's really important to not, and this is, I tell Harry this in private all the time. I respect Harry a lot for what he does, because like on my social media, I take a little bit. Harry and I are very different on social media, which works well as if we're like working together, because we're very different perspectives. But I mean, Harry hits on this stuff. He's like 10, 15 TikToks a day about all this news and how insane it is. And it's really important to not get to a point where people aren't, even if it's been years on end of just screaming, this is insane. Because the second you stop acknowledging it's insane, and you just, which we're already doing, right? Trump says something on stage, he's been rallying lately. He says something so insane. And if Joe Biden said anything that Donald Trump said in the last 72 hours, if any Democrat said any of that, everyone would freak the hell out. But because it's Donald Trump, no one really notices. It's posted about a few times and we shrug it off. And that is dangerous. To let the insanity become normal is dangerous. So it's good sometimes to just orange overload. It's good for the country is what it is. And that's why I respect the hell out of what Harry does, because dude, I'm telling you, like some of these stories that Harry posts about, and he's on top of it all day. I look at some of these stories, like Marjorie Taylor Greene being like, there's Jewish space lasers, and I look at my phone and I'm just like, and I put it down. And it finally hit me, like recently. It hits me all the time when I see Harry yelling about it. I'm like, dude, why am I numb to this? Like, what am I, like, and I get it, because you look at something insane like that, or you hear something like you just said, and you're just like, because
it just happened, because like
it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
It is dangerous.
You keep me on my toes. You keep me on my toes.
Well, yeah, first of all, I appreciate all that. I really do. I mean, that's very kind of you to say as well. But yeah, I mean, like I have the fundamental belief that it is really important to talk about these things, even though it's annoying and it's frustrating and it's happening every day of our lives, and nobody wants to hear about it anymore. Nobody wants Donald Trump to be in politics except the MAGA cult, right? I wish we could go back to the days of Obama, Romney, Obama, McCain, where those candidates are respectful to each other. They disagree. They run hard-fought campaigns, but it's no longer like, yeah, the president of the United States was trying to like deploy the military against his own citizens. Oh, I mean, who cares? I don't.
Yeah, anyway, right. So exactly.
It's important to keep in my view, and I appreciate you saying that stuff. But the final thing, and of course, I would highly, highly recommend that everybody go read the indictment, because this is kind of just like a little sneak peek. There's so much in here that will really make your brain explode from reading this. But a big quote that popped out to me was that on January 1st, Donald Trump called Mike Pence again, asking him to reject the votes and, put it in Trump's favor and all that crap, right? And when Pence again denied, saying, I don't have the authority to do that. I'm not doing it. It's wrong. Trump responded by saying, quote, "You're too honest." You're too honest. That's what he said to Mike Pence. And I thought that was really, I'm going to say it, really fucking disgusting.
Wow. What a fucking horrible guy. What a horrible guy.
So that's all I have on the indictment today.
Why did I ever come up with this suggestion that he like didn't know? Or he does know, but like he believes his own lie? I don't know. Was that unreasonable to suggest?
No, because he just says it every 5 seconds. So it's like,
it's just,
I don't blame you.
Yeah, but no, I think you're right. Wow, you're too honest. That's powerful.
You're too honest. I mean, what we have, I can't even formulate the thoughts to that, because
he defines everything that is anti-American ideals. Donald Trump, like
knowingly lying to the American people. He was lying to his base about the election being fraudulent. He was raising money on these lies, scamming his people out of their hard-earned money. And he was trying to destroy our democracy with the lies that he knew were lies. Oh my God, it's so frustrating, and I get heated every time I talk about this stuff, dude.
Yeah, wow.
So
Well,
that's that on the indictment. Any
okay.
thoughts, any comments, man?
No, I think that was some good banter in there. I think you've done a fantastic job summarizing it. Thank you for doing that and taking the time to read it and highlight it and figure it out for this episode. Appreciate it a lot.
Of course.
But yeah, you can only hammer so many times that this guy is so anti-American. It's unbelievable. I would definitely suggest everyone read the indictment because, I mean, at this point, like, I'm going DOJ. Like, okay, so Circle's closing, right? They have high ground. It's like gold. They have like a gold scar, a gold pump. They definitely have like hella med. But it's not med kits, bro. They have two sets of two slurp juices. That leaves one more slot, which means, like, I don't know, what do you like really want in that slot? Because I know I beat you like every time we play. So like, what?
Okay, buddy. Yeah, this guy gets
Right.
destroyed in Fortnite every single time.
Right. So like,
every single time.
So why do we play that game?
Because it's
like,
fun.
Is it
I don't care what
though?
anybody says.
Dude, I'm so like that game, man. I'm like
You
way
don't fuck
more.
with it?
I'm like what I do. It's just like I don't know. I really like COD, but I'm just like a COD freak.
Yeah, sorry. By the way, we're talking about video games right now. So
Yeah, if you
for
didn't,
the
I'm
record.
sorry. I'm sorry, dude. I'm making
No,
a
that's-
video game. Right?
that's a
I'm
good
sorry.
segue. I like
dude,
that.
that's gonna get so cooked on Twitter. Like this little fucking 4-year-old is referencing the DOJ indictment. He's correlating it to Fortnite. Well, listen, you Twitter MAGA freaks. It's true. The problem is, tell me it's not true. The DOJ has this guy cooked. Jesus Christ.
The DOJ has him cooked.
Anyway, do you have any thoughts on the indictment?
No. Trump is fucked. His lawyers are already making terrible arguments, and maybe we'll talk about that in next week's episode.
And I think next week needs to be, well, I don't know. We should probably throw in some other stories just to anti-orange a little bit. But there's some interesting stuff about how much he's spending on legal fees right now. His lawyers are making terrible arguments when this trial will happen, and all that interesting stuff, which I think we can get into probably at a later date.
Yeah, well, and barring another Trump indictment in Georgia this week, we don't plan on
true.
talking.
Next week could be another. Oh my.
I mean, it really could be 3 weeks in a row
tough.
of talking about Donald Trump.
It's tough. It's tough. Well, listen,
It's tough.
We really appreciate you guys sticking with us. We do. We didn't get any emails last week, I don't think. So yeah, just remember. I'm so sorry. Just remember, you can.
Dude can't
I'm
even
so
get
sorry.
a sentence out.
I know.
He's
You
so
can email-
happy about everybody.
Yeah, you're right. You can email us anytime at questions@cmhsunplugged.com. You can email us questions or if you want to be on the podcast or anything. And yeah, we really appreciate you guys listening to episode 6, sticking with us. Next week, I'm really excited for episode 7, guys. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. We're going to have webcams. It's going to be so much better. I really want to make episode 7 a good one. And yeah, I think that's about it. You can check us out on Twitter and TikTok and Threads. We are there. The links will be in the description. And I think that about wraps it up.
I think so.
All right. Well, listen, guys, we appreciate you a lot. Be here next week, Monday, 1 p.m., every single platform, YouTube. Remember, if you're listening on YouTube, you got us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Google Podcasts, everywhere you get your podcasts. So if you don't want to listen to us on YouTube, I mean, look at me right now. Dude, I look rough. For the record, it was 8 hours in the car. And then it was just, I look rough, okay? But they say, how do you look? Never mind, I'm not going to do the Trump. Anyway, you can find us on every platform. We appreciate you. We will see you next week. Goodbye.